Hi friends! Hope I didn't scare you. It's your tour guide to the sci-fi side, me, Preston E. And today I'm very excited because we're taking a look at not one, but two different Mystery Science Theater 3000 volume collections. Ooh! We got Mystery Science Theater Volume 10 and Mystery Science Theater Volume 10.2. Now, why, you may ask? Why, Preston E. Garrison, the tour guide to the sci-fi side, is there two different Volume 10s? That's a heck of a question. I'm glad you asked. I will tell you. First, let's take a walk down history's memory lane, shall we? I need those special wavy effects and a harp. Yeah, I'll just do it myself. The four Mystery Science Theater volume collections were taken over by Shout. They were put out by Rhino. When it came to Volume 10, Rhino failed to clear the rights to put out Godzilla vs. Megalon. So as a result, Mystery Science Theater Volume 10 was pulled from store shelves within a couple of months. Whoopsies! And it was replaced by Mystery Science Theater Volume 10.2. Volume 10.2 replaced the Godzilla vs. Megalon movie with the giant Gila, pronounced Gila monster. It still had the other same movies, the Swamp Diamonds, the Teenage Stranglers, and the giant Spider Invasion, but that's the only difference between the two. So they are a little bit different. But that's okay. We're all a little bit different, aren't we? And that's what makes us special. And today on this video, we're going to celebrate those differences because, oh my lord, when did I turn into Mr. Rogers? Anyhow, we're going to rate each of these movies on the SOL Bone Scale 1 through 5, and then we're going to rate both of these collections with a possible 20 SOL bones. So without further ado, I give you my new co-host in training, straight from the swamps of Louisiana, Mr. Ali. Take it away, Ali. Send them the collections.
Ah! That's right, Preston Garrison. Today we're going to look at a classic from Louisiana. Louisiana Tabasco sauce straight from every island. Ha! I'll be rating these here sauces on a spicy gator tail scale 1 through 5. Ha! And all.
Never mind. Looks like he didn't get the memo. Let's just get straight to the movie, shall we?
Laissez-les montons rouler!
Yeah. First up, it's Godzilla vs. Megalon from Season 2, straight from Volume 10. Before we get to the movie, we have an invention exchange. This invention exchange will get you ready for All Hallows Eve as the invention exchange gets all Halloweeny with costume fun. Dr. Forrester shows off his foosball-inspired goalie costume, guaranteed to clothesline anyone in your way for some great cavity-causing Halloween candy. TV's Frank gets his Geordi LaForge from Star Trek costume on, but you may want to poke holes in that one, or get a seeing eye dog to sniff out the candy. Joe and the bots get in on the Halloween fun as well, as Joe's costume doubles as a robot or Jiffy Pop popcorn. Meanwhile, Servo and Crow pop up with the buttery goodness of Orville Redenbacher and Son. Now let's pop on to the movie. It's the year 1973, and underground nuclear tests are all the rage. However, two places aren't having fun with the firework festivities: Monster Island and Seatopia. The Seatopians get all butthurt over the annoying upstairs neighbor's late-night nuclear party and decides to send their beetle god Megalon to poop it. Meanwhile, an inventor, his brother, and their friends, whose names I'm not even going to attempt to butcher, are chilling at a lake when they and the annoying little brat hanging out with them barely escape when the Seatopians dry up the lake they're chilling at. They stole that trick from Moses. Jet Jaguar is a humanoid robot constructed by the three inventors that the Seatopians try to steal. The agents of Seatopia try to use the robot to guide Megalon to destroy any city Jet directs it to. Yo, go for Washington, D.C., and you'll all be the heroes of this movie. Anyway, Jet Jaguar is hypnotized to guide Megalon to attack Tokyo instead, as our three inventor heroes are held hostage. Once free, the inventors send Jet Jaguar to get Godzilla to help. Go save Timmy in the well, Godzilla! A wrestling match ensues between Megalon and Jet Jaguar once it is discovered that he has turned back to the good side. The Seatopians, like any good Stinky Hills, send for Gigan to assist Megalon on beating down Jet in a handicap wrestling match. Oh, the humanity! Not this way! Like any good babyface, Godzilla arrives on the scene to make this a tag team match, playa, and he and Jet team up to kick butt and take names. This is awesome! This is awesome! And we get the awesomeness of Jet Jaguar, who can grow and shrink at will while also breaking out in some totally awesome cheer routines. Go Godzilla! This episode also sees the most excellent montage of Rex Dart Eskimo Spy, and it all culminates in a monstrously fun watch of an episode that breathes fire of hilarity for a 4 out of 5 SOL Bones. From Volume 10, we now go to Volume 10.2 with Season 4, The Great Gila, pronounced Gila Monster. But before we do that, let's get to the invention exchange. Joe invents a radio with a tuner that picks up teen dance music from old sitcoms. Meanwhile, the Mads demo their Renaissance Festival punching bags. I want one of those bags, but with telemarketers, bill collectors, and a Girl Scout on them instead. Hey, a Girl Scout once shortchanged me. On to the movie. We got a real giant reptilian thing going on here in these collections, don't we? We sure do, you know. In this flick, a small-town Texas sheriff and a young tow truck driver named Chase investigate some mysterious goings-ons in the community. Chase is hip with the local teens in the community and saves everyone's lives when he wrecks his custom-built hot rod full of nitroglycerin into the giant Gila monster that is trying to make snacks out of everyone in the town. Now the town can make snacks of some giant fried Gila. Yummy! This movie is charming in its own right, with a normal-sized Gila monster wreaking havoc near toy cars that are meant to be real life-size cars, but because they're toy cars up against a normal-sized Gila monster, the Gila monster looks huge by comparison. Also, Don Sullivan stars as Chase and sings his song, Laugh Children Laugh, in this movie to the point of nausea. The sheriff mentions skid marks so many times in this movie that you could get alcohol poisoning from it if you decide to turn it into a fun drinking game.
Did you notice those skid marks?
Would you forget the skid marks?
This movie also sets the record for the most legs up in a single picture. You can make a fun drinking game out of that too, you frat house animals. Ooh, ooh. Got a little captain in you. Skid marks.
Would you forget the skid marks?
This movie also marks the first naming of Crow as Art, as a letter written by a little girl addresses Crow as such. Calling Crow Art would become an occasional running gag used by Pearl Forrester in later seasons. And for that reason, this episode and movie gets a 3 out of 5 SOL Bones. Up next is Swamp Diamond, straight from Season 5. Before we get all swampy, let's see what Joe the Bots along with the Mads are up to in the invention exchange, shan't we? The Mads invent the U-View, which shows you what you could be doing if you weren't watching TV. My U-View showed me watching TV to make YouTube reviews out of the TV shows I was watching for you. My life is full. Joe and the Boss create the Andrew Lloyd Webber grill that burns scores of Andrew Lloyd Webbers, including Cats and Phantom of the Opera. Hope you like fried pussy. On to the movie. Before we get to the movie, we get a short entitled What to Do on a Date. Shy and well-meaning Nick wants to take Kay on a date but isn't sure how to go about doing it. His buddy suggests scavenger cells. Whoopee! At the scavenger cell, Nick snaps, takes a hammer, and beats everybody with it, Bob Vila style. Nope, sorry. I'm projecting my horror fandom fantasies again on one of these wholesome shorts. Anyhow, Nick actually finds a list full of fun dating activities to do while at this scavenger cell, like bike riding, taffy pulls, swim meets, bowling, and the always painful weenie roast. Now, on to the movie. Ooh, Swamp Diamonds is a 1956 film starring Beverly Garland, Mike Touch Connors, no thanks, I barely know him, and Marie Windsor. We start off at a Mardi Gras party where Bob and his date enjoys the festivities and the drunks.
Man, what kind of a lame Mardi Gras is this, man? Where the triple B's at? The bourbon, the beignets, and the boobs. What is this, man? A very Brady Mardi Gras. Coo y'all!
Sorry about that. Where was I? Yes, Carol Matthews plays Lee Hampton, who goes undercover in a women's prison to infiltrate a gang of hardened female criminals that break out and go to retrieve the swamp diamonds that are hidden in the swamp. Problems ensue when Bob's tour guide is killed, his boat is commandeered by the lady prisoners, and his girlfriend is eaten by gators. I'll tell you, when it rains, it pours.
Man, I bet she tastes good with some Tabasco sauce. Ha!
Enough with the Tabasco already, Al. The convict that looks like Lucille Ball goes all feisty redhead and threatens to kill everyone by taking their guns, but she is shish kebabbed by Josie, while the rest of the pussycats begin to suspect Lee as an undercover cop. After a fight ensues, the geologist named Bob and Lee kick the remaining two convicts' butts, and the authorities show up via boat to take them into custody. This MST3K episode sees fun wraparound host segments as Tom Servo acts like Nick from the short and tries to ask Gypsy on a date. Gypsy reluctantly accepts, and not so reluctantly friend-zones Tom in the end. Been there, bro. Been there. Too many times. Moving on. This episode in the movie, Swamp Diamonds, I love doing that, gets a 3 out of 5 SOL bones. Up next is Teenage Strangler from Season 5. But before we get to the not yet an adult, no longer a child choking, let's get to the invention exchange. Dr. Forrester devises the perfect babysitting device for babysitters and parents alike in this Frank Enforcer contraption. If it works to secure a big boy like Frank, it'll surely work for your terrorizing tots too. Meanwhile, Mike and the bots show off the waiter baiter that gets the attention of your waiter or waitress so you can be free to eat. I need one of those contraptions too, but on top of my car with a different kind of finger pointing, if you know what I mean. Too many crazy drivers on my work commute. Before we get to the movie, we get another one of those sappy 50s shorts. This one is called Is This Love? And no, it's not the kind of love that Whitesnake or Survivor sings about. Is This Love tells the tale of a young college-bound girl who wants to hitch a beau she's just been dating for about a month or so. She goes against the advice of her American Gothic-looking parents and her middle-aged looking roomie, who looks like she was held back longer than Rizzo from Grease. She bypasses their sound advice of waiting for marriage and goes straight for the regret, onto the strangling. Teenage Strangler, Can You Choke Me? Is a 1957 thriller mystery that sees a town thrown into chaos as a killer mysteriously strangles high school girls, though he also strangles the stray middle-aged woman or two if teen girls are not available. The movie sees a young man named Jimmy being tempted to join a hot rodding gang, and he is joined by a singing countertop chick and a whiny little nerdy brother named Mikey for the 50s fun. Meanwhile, Lieutenant Anderson questions a local gang of greasers who he suspects has been doing the strangling. This lot of hot rodding gangs call themselves the Fast Breaks, and they are actually innocent, even though the jacket insignia of their gang member Curly is found at the scene of one of the strangling crimes. It turns out that the creepy high school janitor did it, of course, and he tries to frame Curly for the crime. The old creepy janitor used to be a creepy high school teacher who was a little too friendly and handsy with the female students and was demoted to janitor into school. You'd think he'd be banned from the school and fired, period. And what is it with psychotic creepy janitors anyway who go on to kill kids? Guess this guy was the inspiration for Freddy Krueger. Anyway, the old custodial coot tries to kill another high school cutie in his closet with a pair of pantyhose. What? Hosed again. Lieutenant Anderson and Jimmy, along with others, arrive on the scene and save the girl's life and shoots the old coot dead. With a rocking 50s soundtrack and a teenage hot rodder Jimmy's constantly whining pet's wedding brother named Mikey, this episode is a hoot to watch and strangles a 3 out of 5 SOL bones. And it also gives us the Ode to Janitors song by Mike and the Bots at the end of the episode. And finally, we have the giant spider invasion, straight from the very appropriate Season 8. Because you see, spiders have 8 legs. Get it? Don't leave me alone. This is a 1975 horror sci-fi flick about a rural Wisconsin town invaded by spiders from space. The spiders start off as regular-sized tarantulas, and that would be enough to make an arachnophobic person like me to jump out a plate glass window and run away screaming like a 1960s teenager at a Beatles concert. But these bad boys get bigger from here. Eventually, the big mama spider invades, ready to treat the cheeseheads as appetizing flies. But a neutron device destroys the giant spider, ending evil Charlotte and her hell-spawned children's reign of terror. This movie is a hoot with a laughable giant spider mom and some well-known actors making appearances, such as Alan Hell, a.k.a. Skipper, who plays a jolly giant of a local sheriff, and he's also joined by his wife, Barbara Hell, who plays a scientist in this movie. But one of my personal favorites is in this movie as well, the man of 1,000 voices himself, Robert Easton. He also made an appearance in another episode of MST3K in A Touch of Satan as a local farmer ready to torch some witches. In this movie, however, he's a not-so-good old boy who is cheating on his alcoholic wife with her sister under the guise of going to a revival at a local church. That's some Jerry Springer-level stuff there, you betcha. This movie made my skin crawl because I am plain old terrified of spiders, but I still enjoy the laugh right riffs along with the familiar faces. I'll give this episode a 4 out of 5 SOL bones. So who won? Which collection scored higher? MST3K Volume 10 or MST3K Volume 10.2? Godzilla or the giant Gila monster? Well, we're all winners with both of these awesome collections, but Godzilla smokes the competition by barely edging out the giant Gila monster as Volume 10 scores a 14 out of 20 SOL bones, while 10.2 scores a 13 out of 20 SOL bones. But to be fair, did giant Gila monster really stand a chance against Godzilla? I mean, after all, Godzilla is the king of the monsters, and giant Gila is really only giant standing next to Matchbox cars. Well, that about does it for me, and thanks for joining me. And please like, subscribe, and share, and I'll see you next time for MST3K Volume 11, for goodness sakes. Watch out for snakes.